are you afraid, like speaking out?
Yes, I am. But I have nothing left to lose. My family has given up everything. Revie started seizing, and it was just me and Ella. Ella could not get that pulse ox on. And in that moment, as a mother trying to save her baby, and a mother who didn't want her 12-year-old to think that she killed her sister, I had to be like, it's okay. Even though I'm like, I don't know if my other baby's gonna live. She's so amazing, and Shai is so amazing. Like, I feel so guilty that they've had to like do this. Probably 4 hours of being gaslighted by medical professionals, and they've hurt my daughter. Already a losing battle when you walk into those doors with a medically complex child, because they've already written your child off. Yeah, she lost a body part. This one, she was about to lose her life. Primary Children's, like, whoever watches this, because I know that you're gonna see it. Why? We want answers as a community, and I will not stop fighting. I will not stop speaking up.
Hi guys, welcome back to the CasualTea podcast. On today's episode, I feel like you need no introduction. Brittainy, what's your last name?
Moala. Yep.
What is Quinn, your middle name?
Yep.
Okay.
My middle name. Yep.
Brittainy, like I've been wanting to have you on my podcast. We were just talking a little bit before, and I was saying that because, you know, I'm so open about like my journey to God, or whether I'm Karening out about a situation, I created subconsciously a place for people to come and feel comfortable to share their journeys as well and be open and honest, no filters. I appreciate you for coming and taking the time.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for doing this. And
of course. And
you are so brave, and that's something that I really admire about you. And so I'm just like honored to be in your house and on your couch. But I grew up in West Jordan, but I went to Kearns High, and I met Fatu there. And
high school sweethearts.
Yes, high school sweethearts, and just never stopped dating. But yeah, we met really young, and he was just like a part of the family super quick. We always wanted a ton of kids, and then we had one, and we were like, yeah, maybe not that many. Like, let's stop at 2. But yeah, we had big dreams. Fatu did, not me. I wanted like a regular life.
Yeah.
I wanted like I grew up, my dad worked, had a safe job, you know, and my mom stayed home. That's what I wanted, and that is not what Fatu wanted. He wanted everything different, and it was really cool to see him, you know, strive after that. And it built a lot of I don't even know what the right word is. It built a lot of character in me that I never would have never naturally come without like all of our struggles and our trials. And so I'm really grateful for the life that we lived, even though it was hard. But yeah, we definitely went after our dreams, and it was fun. Yeah,
I always admire people that, you know, meet in high school and they're still together, high school sweethearts. I low-key wish I had a story like that.
It's toxic.
Yeah, I was just drunk in high school 24/7. So you guys got married. You guys now have 3 kids.
Yeah.
3 girls.
Yep.
I mean, I want to talk more about like your life before jumping into Revie, but like the Karen in me is like, let's jump straight into it, you know?
That's what
because if you guys don't know, she's been going through a battle, her and her family, pretty much fighting for Revie's life.
Yes.
And she is what you call medically complex?
Yep, medically complex. Yep,
yeah.
1 of 1.
And how old is she?
She's 2.
Wow, she's only 2 years old. So did this start like immediately from birth? Did you guys know something was wrong when you were pregnant with her? What was that like?
Right. So Revie was a surprise baby. And no, I had no clue, no intuition, nothing. I got really sick with Ella and Shia. And so that's kind of why we were like, we're not having any more kids. I had to be on like IVs and stuff. And with Revie, I was sick, but it wasn't that bad. I was able to work out my whole pregnancy. We had a gym back at that time in Idaho, so it was really convenient. I just got to work out, and I was so calm my whole pregnancy. And I think around like 20 weeks or what, maybe it was later, they found out that she was measuring small. But I had kind of like Shia was only 6 pounds, you know, like, and they didn't make it seem like a big deal. And honestly, I was excited because they were like, oh, we can induce you early because we need to get her out, because we think it's something to do with the placenta, something to do with, you know, something like that. And I was like, cool, I'm not going to have to, I was going to have her when the kids went to school. So I was like, cool, we're going to induce her early. This is going to be great. Yeah, she's a little small. Be fine.
Get her out.
Yeah, get her out. Yes. And no one made it seem like a big deal. And then we went to have her, and the second she came out, like literally, it's so crazy. I didn't even see her face. I just saw her back, and I knew, like, everything in my whole body was like, something is wrong with your baby. But
what about the back?
Like, I only just saw her back. Like, I didn't even have to see her face to know. Like, nothing was wrong. It was just like, once I just saw her, like, it's this motherly intuition, and I would never even believe it if it didn't happen to me. Like, it's so real, and I just knew, like, something is wrong with your baby.
Yeah.
But no one else did. Like, I looked at Fatu, and he was like just smiling, like so excited for her, and I was like, what is this guy doing? Like, something's wrong with our baby. Why is he why isn't he freaking out like me? You know? Yeah, Dad, for real. And he's with her right now, so hopefully
we
she's
love
fine.
you, Fatu.
Yep. I hope the nurse is there.
Yeah.
No, he does great. But like, yeah, at the time, and I remember that was the first time that I quieted my voice. Like, even though I knew something was wrong, the nurses didn't act like something was wrong. The doctors didn't act like something was wrong. And it made me feel like I was crazy. So I didn't want to say anything. Like, hey guys, is something wrong with my baby? You know, but I did. But I was scared to say it. And so I was like, what's wrong with her? Like, and they looked at me weird, and they like kind of looked at that Revie, and they took her to the back of the room. And I remember thinking, okay, I can handle this. Like, they're going to come back and they're going to say she has, you know, this or that. I have to prepare. I have to handle it. And then they came back and they said, nothing is wrong with your baby. And that's the one thing I didn't prepare for.
Yeah. And in retrospect now, like, that almost was a glimpse into what to expect for the next 2 years of your life with her. You know, with people telling you there's nothing wrong with her, and you're literally the only one advocating for her.
Yep.
So what was the turning point in that, and how did you finally speak up and open? Like, did you take her home and everything was fine? Right.
So I spoke up the whole time in the hospital, still, like, very, very quietly. Like, I would ask a nurse, hey, do you think there's something like different about Revie? Do you think there's something wrong? Yeah. And I had a nurse that like told me, she said, I am a mother of 5 children, and if you think something is wrong with your baby, something is. Like, you need to believe that. But it was also so devastating to me because I, of course, wanted nothing to be wrong. Right. So when my doctor told me nothing was wrong, the first pediatrician we had in the hospital was like, nothing's wrong with her, you know? And I wanted to believe them so badly that I almost hated when someone validated that like feeling inside, because you knew. I knew.
Yeah, from the second you saw her.
Mm-hmm, I knew. But they ended up having me take her home. She was 4 pounds. And so everyone just kept saying, she's small.
How did you take her home at 4 pounds? Is that crazy?
Yeah. Right. It's literally insane. So this is Idaho.
Okay, she was born in Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho's a little crazy out there, like in all the ways. And so
3 pounds, she's great.
Yeah, literally. Like, you can go look back at pictures. She doesn't even fit in a car seat. It was crazy. Took her home at 4 pounds. And I remember she wasn't breastfeeding, and I never had a problem with that with my other kids. And they had me like put my pinky in her mouth and feed her with the syringe. That's how I fed her. And I have a video of it like on my Instagram. Yeah.
Like, clearly that's not normal.
Clearly, like, right. And I didn't know. And you just feel so weird. I think that's like, this is like one of the biggest messages. It's like, you go in there and these guys are the experts. Everyone in the hospital is an expert. And if they're saying everything's okay, even if everything inside of you is like, this is not okay. Yeah. It's like this weird position of power. It's like you're in this vulnerable place and you just believe, because what else do you do? Like, yeah. You know? And so, took her home.
Like, how do you speak up against these medical professionals and telling them there is something wrong with my daughter, you know, when they're supposed to be those medical professionals?
Right. And yeah, and it was so scary and it was so hard, but I never stopped asking. But now I fight. Like now I know, but back then I asked and wanted to just, and like tried to believe, but I took her home and it was just chaos from the second we got home, like of trying to like keep her alive essentially.
Like just trying to feed her.
Yep.
And when did she start like having seizures?
Yeah, so she started having seizures after we like got a diagnosis. We finally got a diagnosis at 2 months old, and it was a full 2 months of fighting, being told I was crazy. I had postpartum depression, all the things. But so seizures came, I want to say she was probably 9 months, and they were just as severe as they are today. Like she goes completely apneic, and she doesn't even turn blue. She's gray. Like it's for so long, and her eyes just stay wide open and she doesn't move. And so I didn't, in my mind, I thought a seizure was like you shake and you,
right.
you know, and you turn them to the side, just, you know, and don't put anything in their mouth. And I had worked with like the disability community before and had seizures that look like that.
Right.
I had never seen anything that looked like what Revie did. And
just like frozen and gray.
Yep. It honestly just looks like someone like they're not there.
Dude, yeah.
You know? And for Revie, like you've seen Rev's videos and stuff, she's moving 24/7. Like that girl does not hold still unless she's asleep, which is also rare if she's sleeping. So to see her like not move and
be lifeless.
Yes, good. Yeah, that's exactly it. It was like terrifying. And you knew something's wrong.
Yeah. When was the first time that happened? Do you remember?
Yeah, we lived in Idaho, and my neighbor, actually, their daughter had just had like a febrile seizure, which means like a lot of kids actually have those, I guess. And she just told me about it a week before. And so I actually was like, oh, this is just that. Like, even though Revie wasn't shaking and all this stuff, I just realized she's having a seizure. But so Revie didn't sleep back then. Oh, it was a nightmare. It was so bad. So that was another thing.
She was not sleeping through nights.
Yeah, like
no regular sleep routine.
No.
She sounds like me.
Yeah, you should have babysat back then. Like literally. So Fatu, it was his shift. We took shifts. We like never slept in the same bed together. Like we were a team. You know, we weren't like it was so wonderful to have that. Good thing we had Revie when he was older.
Yeah.
Like 21.
Well, when did he start acknowledging that, okay, maybe there is something wrong?
The same once I said.
Yeah.
He never was like, Brittainy, no. Like, what are you talking about? But he
believed you?
He believed me.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like, hey, something's wrong. Like, he's very, like, quiet.
Yeah.
And he just let me take the lead, but he never made me feel crazy, ever.
That's important.
Yeah.
You know, because if it feels like everyone else is trying to make you feel like you're crazy, just having that one person that listens to you and believes in you and validates you is everything. And I'm sure has a lot to do with you still going today.
Right. Oh, for sure. And now that man too, he's like a little loud now. Yeah. He comes out of his shell now. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, yeah.
Let's go back to like, I mean, before you guys had Revie, you guys lived a normal life, right? Two daughters. You had a gym.
Yeah.
I started following Brittainy years ago. I was telling her when they had that gym and also Fatu's clothing line.
Yep.
That you guys did. And so was that kind of just like put on the back burner after
it just
Revie?
Fell apart? Actually, it was like we had worked for so many years to finally like have our dreams come to fruition. Like we honestly struggled a lot to get to that point. Like we lived in my parents' basement when we had decided to like not do our college careers anymore, you know.
Right.
We could have had that safe life that I wanted. And sometimes I wish we had it now, but but
God said nope.
Yeah, God was like, you need to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, we had the gym. We had everything was finally like coming into place, and I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh shoot, like what are we gonna do? Because I was a part of the business like pretty equally. I had my own and he had his. But I was like, it's fine. It's just a baby.
Yeah.
It's Revie.
It's Revie.
I was like, oh my gosh.
A special baby.
It was Revie, and it was so hard. Like I spent most of my time at Primary Children's, and Ella and Shia were just little, and they didn't, like, they had to grow into this life too. And to be honest, we could just, like, everything just fell apart. It was like we couldn't maintain the gym anymore. We couldn't maintain the expenses because we never slept. We were managing Revie's care constantly at home. We didn't have a good care team. Right. And no one knew what to do with Revie. Like her sleep problems were blamed on parenting. They were blamed on, And you really, like, think, like, okay, I mean, I've had 2 other kids, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, even though she's clearly, you know, different. Right. They're like, oh, yeah, it's just routine. You guys have spoiled her. What?
Are you joking?
Yes, at this hospital. Yeah.
Which hospital?
Primary Children's.
This one here still?
Yep, still. Yeah, that was even then. And I had Ella and Shia with me at that appointment. And she was like, yeah, it's just like, you probably should stop bouncing around the ball. The one thing that comforted Revie, you guys are like, the degrees are too hot in the room, blah, blah, blah. All these dumb
Blaming
things.
Everything. Yeah.
And she's like, I have an 18-month-old. Let me tell you my routine. I'm like, girl, I got a 12 and a 10-year-old sitting next to me, even though they weren't that age. Wow. But I'm like, if anything, then that makes me more of an expert than you. Yeah. You have a typical 18-month-old, and you're going to compare that to my medically complex baby.
Well, but at this time, did they know anything was wrong with her?
Yeah.
Or like acknowledge it?
Yeah. So like they knew she had 4Q syndrome. So that's what Revie has. Yeah. And then she also has,
which is like 1 in a million.
Yeah. Like not one kid with 4Q is the same, basically. So there's other kids with 4Q syndrome, but depending on where like your deletion or duplication is on that chromosome, it totally manifests differently.
Right. So literally, like, these medical professionals, like, probably have no idea. Like, Revie's probably the first one they're meeting, honestly. Yep. Right? With her condition. Mm-hmm. And so it's then like, do you show them grace about how the stuff that they told you early on? Because I'm sure it's different now. Like, now they know, you know? You're yes. Like, fuck no.
Yeah. I'm like, No, because I think I showed them grace in the moment. Like, I believed, and it hurt us. Yeah. Like and it wasn't that I blindly believed. I asked questions. With even just sleep, it was like, no, I need help. Like, we are not okay at home. My baby is not okay. She's not sleeping.
When did they officially diagnose her with that?
It was when she was in the PICU in Primary Children's.
What's the PICU?
Oh yeah, sorry. It's like the ICU, the intensive care unit for like pediatrics.
So very early on.
It was last year.
Oh, just last year. Yep.
So she was 1 and wasn't sleeping this whole time. She was almost 2 actually. So she's almost 3 right now. Yeah. But wasn't sleeping the whole time. And the best thing about it was we were in that PICU for so long, almost a month, that the nurses finally advocated for us and was like, this baby doesn't sleep. I can't feasibly do my job with this baby because she doesn't sleep. She needs help. And they believe the nurses.
And that's part of the condition.
Yep. Mm-hmm. For Revie. Yep.
For Revie, yes. Because they're all different.
Right. Yep. Oh, so she doesn't sleep. So they put her on 3 strong sleep sedatives. Like, she's on trazodone, Seroquel, Clonidine. And they put them all on her in that PICU, and she slept. But it was like, why? We've been asking for 2 years.
Right. You literally have to be the advocate for Revie.
Every minute of every day.
What has kept you from like not going completely damn insane?
Right. Well, actually, I think I was insane at the beginning. I questioned myself 24/7. I wished I was crazy because then at least I could fix it. Yeah. I couldn't fix if something was wrong with Revie. But I think seeing Revie get hurt because I didn't speak up. Yeah. And I questioned myself has kept me. And I was always validated. Like, the outcome spoke for itself. Everything that I said, the outcome told the truth. Like, I was right. Right. And I don't say it with like arrogance, and no mother does. It's like, that is great with great responsibility. We are the ones up all night. We are the ones trying to figure out our babies that no one knows anything about. Right. And so it's like, I have been right every single time. And so even then, I still like question myself, but I just know, like, in my heart, in my soul, that I'm feeling this for a reason.
Yeah.
But it's not always come to fruition. Like, Revie always has to suffer before someone believes me.
Right. Suffer for months. You know, the story that literally got me was, because I watch all of them, was the story of Revie's eye.
Yeah.
And how you were trying to advocate for, and correct me if I'm wrong, but some sort of test that you felt like there was an infection or something wrong with her eye, and they didn't believe you. They didn't do the test. And then Revie lost her eye.
Yep. So, And you think, like, that would be the end all be all, like, they will listen now. But it was in May, she has a genetic disorder of the eyes already that we know, and it causes retinal detachment. And the eye started to wander. She started to see things differently, things a mother would know. Like, a mother once told me that she knew something was wrong with her baby because he looked left. Like, he looked to the left weird.
Right.
Like,
anybody else would have just been, oh, that's fine. But
yeah, like, that's how like how connected we are to them. But so just she was starting to look different and all this stuff, like the way that she saw visually. And I had asked them, hey, can we look at her eye? Can we see? And with Revie, she has to be sedated. That girl needs to be sedated for everything. Yeah. And so I was like, can you please do an exam? The guy came in and he already had like a demeanor about him, but he was like, no, we're not going to do a sedated exam. We're not going to do that. I'm like, but she requires that. That's how you give her the best care. And he's like, well, she doesn't need that. She doesn't need to be sedated.
Yeah.
And so he gave a botchy exam. He didn't even do the appropriate test. And he was like, yeah, it's just her 4Q syndrome. Her eyes look that way. I'm like, you're an ophthalmologist commenting on genetic stuff, sir. Like, get out of here. Like, no, I'm not asking you why my daughter's eyes are big.
Right.
I'm asking you why she's looking a different way. And so he completely dismissed me. And then I continued to advocate from there, and finally got an MRI, and they did the MRI and they came back and told me everything looked good. And it's like, how do you fight with a test? Like an MRI.
Or did they even do it? Is there proof that they did it?
Right. For real. We're about to go find out.
No,
yeah.
Seriously.
So they did, like, at the time I wasn't as hyper vigilant. Like, I was so, like, you want to trust these professionals. You want to believe them. And so in an MRI, I was like, okay, Brittainy, like, it's okay. And so her retina specialist messaged me and was like, hey, they said the MRI looks good and I trust Dr. Sanchez's findings. So we're going to go from there. And then months.
And you still knew something more was wrong.
Yes. And we were fighting another battle at that time with her lungs. So it's just like constant.
Yeah. One thing after the other.
But then finally in September, so May to September, and constant advocacy in between, I took her into the ER and they said she had pink eye. And her eye was literally
I saw the pictures.
Yeah. I'm like,
I'm not even a doctor. Right. And I'm looking at her eye and I'm like, that is no pink eye, honey. Like, there's clearly something wrong, you know? But like, my question is like, what, like, so you did, you know, when you were requesting, what was the test that you were requesting for her retina?
I wanted a sedated eye exam, like just a regular exam, but for Revie, it needs to be sedated, because how are you going to do a comprehensive exam with that crazy little girl? You know, like, you can't.
Well, my question is like, if a mother or anyone in general is requesting a certain test because they feel like something is wrong and this is the test that could maybe identify the problem, why wouldn't a doctor or hospital do that?
Right. And so
are they paying for it? Like,
I know. Like, don't you think they would want to do it?
It really makes me wonder why they just wouldn't do it, because it's a win-win both ways. If there's nothing wrong, at least they, you know, found that out. If they did, it could have prevented an eye removal.
Right. For sure. And like, what they generally tell us is the risks don't outweigh the benefit. Like, the risk of sedating her because it could do something to her breathing, or
are they just being lazy? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like you said, so her being in pain and suffering, because they kept saying to me too, how do you know she's in pain? Well, how do you know she's in pain? Like, because I know my daughter, because she doesn't present it the same way you might, So I think it was a lack of belief. Oh, this crazy mom, this emotional mother, laziness, because you got to take resources in order to sedate a child. It's going to take the RT, it's the respiratory therapist, it's going to take the nurse, it's going to take the attendee doctor. Like, it's going to take people. Yeah. And I think they're like, well, why can't we just do a regular eye exam? Like, I can just do, Yeah. So it's a lack of so many different things. It's a systemic failure, and it sucks, because how does a mom who continuously gets told no know how to be perfect in a moment where she's so vulnerable, where her child is hurting, and it's like, if you're not perfect in that moment, then you're not going to get help for your child. How do I know, like, to escalate it to the next person? How do I know I can't ask for a different eye doctor? How do we don't know. You can, but you're hearing something from someone and they're saying, this, there's nothing wrong. It's just pink eye. Her respiratory symptoms match it. Like, look, it's just this. It says, I called my colleague. I called him. He agrees with me. And then it's like, send me the picture.
Yeah. So it's not just one person. It's literally like a systemic failure.
Yep.
It's multiple people just like ignoring.
People. Yep. Because that same day, that same instant, like Fatu, so you have your ER doctor and then the eye doctor, and the ER doctor came in and we were like, we want someone different. Like, we were actually brave enough to ask this. Yeah, we want someone different than Dr. Sanchez. Yeah. And it was same doctor from May, right? And the ER doctor, I think he thought he was being like our friend. Like, I don't think it was like malicious or anything like that, but he was like, hey, from my experience, it doesn't look good when you have to request a different doctor. Like
fuck what looks good.
Right. Right. And that's the thing that's hard, I think, is like, in that moment, your mind is everywhere. And people are telling you, these experts are telling you you're wrong. And you're like, okay, maybe I am being crazy. I've had all the tests. You're right. Like, he did look at her, like, and even this doctor, he's like, my advice to you would just be go home, like, sleep on it. And if something doesn't resolve in the morning, come back. He ended up doing an ultrasound test. Okay. So it's not like we went through like probably 4 hours of being gaslighted by medical professionals. And it's like, he did another test and he was so aggressive. He didn't do it sedated like he's supposed to, and was like, see, told you, nothing. So it's like, they're doing all these next steps. We are escalating. We are advocating. We are raising questions, and it's continuously being shut down. Like, we know better. We know best.
Right.
You're emotional. This is hard. Yes, your daughter's different. These things. Yeah, they'll tell you.
How do you handle that?
Now differently. But it sucks because I don't think there's probably a few very, strong-willed, like you were saying. Yeah. You'd be in jail if this,
I would for sure be in jail if this was my nephew or niece. Right. Like, I would raise hell in the hospital.
And that's what
I would be their
have
worst
to do.
Nightmare. And you're right. That is what you have to do. But at the same time, has it created some sort of conflict in the hospital that you feel?
But you are right. The louder you are, the stronger you are, the more sure in yourself you are. And it actually it's hard. Yeah. It's so hard, and you're so tired. You are just surviving. Not only are you there asking for help, you're managing this, like, you have all the meds. You don't sleep. Your baby is constantly in pain, and you don't know why. You're being told this is just the progression of the disease, or this is being medically complex. Like, you're never validated, ever. Yeah. Even on the most basic thing. And so it's just this like whirlwind, like this perfect storm, that you're into. Like, if I took Ella in, my typical child who's acting different, they would treat her differently.
Right.
And I've seen that with Shia. Like, my other child, I took her in for an ear infection, and she was in her cute cheer outfit, and everyone's like, oh, you're so cute in the middle, you know, let's get you back, let's get you better. And they couldn't even see in her ear because she had so much earwax, but so they were like, okay, we could clean it out, but you don't have time, you need to get back to your dance,
right?
And let's just give you the antibiotic.
They're
and
treating her like a human.
Yep.
Like they should.
That, and I think that's where like the root of it all is. Revie is already gone. Revie is already not worth saving. Yep. And so you are fighting already a losing battle when you walk into those doors with the medically complex child, because they've already written your child off.
Right. I want to share this story because it's crazy, but also not to scare you, because I know you guys take shifts at the hospital, right? Like you guys never leave Revie alone.
Correct. Yep.
And I love that you guys do that, because me and a couple of friends were in Moab a couple years ago, and it was 3 of us. And it was at the time where, you know, I was drinking, and we were all drinking in the hot tub. Let's just put it that way. We met some nurses, some NICU nurses from Colorado, and they were drunk as well. And they started telling us that, and there's people there to confirm this story. We were all drunk, but we all woke up traumatized because we were like, what the fuck did we just hear? That these NICU nurses were telling us that sometimes they were admitting to like helping medically complex babies pass on, or like if they're being like, if they're crying too loud, or they're just over the baby and the baby's just causing too much problems. They literally admitted to us in the hospital that or in the hot tub, that they literally would pull the plug or do something to literally help the baby pass on. And, you know, at the time we were drunk, right? So we were like laughing and like, what the fuck? That's crazy. And they were telling us and laughing. But the next morning we woke up and we're like, holy shit. Like, I don't know what hospital that was. They didn't
Colorado,
say.
is that what you said?
Yeah, in Colorado, like 3 NICU nurses, and they were being dead serious. They weren't joking.
Right.
Because we were questioning. We're like, what do you mean? You just like pull the plug? Like, we will help them pass on, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind?
And honestly, like, I worked in healthcare prior, like in nursing homes. Like I worked with disabled adults and stuff. And it's like, it's so crazy. Like, you know, when someone has a job and you're like, you don't have to be here. Like, this is a job that you do not have to be in, you know, like,
but also that you literally chose and went to school for.
Right. Like, if this is how you feel, like, you should not be here. But it's like, if they already have like that, their interpretation of like quality of life for that baby, Revie, the disabled, whoever, and they don't believe that person has quality of life, right? Well, let's just help them pass on. You know how many
in the middle of the night while the mom and everyone is sleeping. Like,
that's what.
It's terrifying. And at the end of the day, these are just people, right? And people have crazy motives, crazy intentions, crazy thoughts, whether they're doctors, nurses, or what, you know? So it's also scary thinking about that, but I'm so glad you guys don't leave Revie alone ever.
No.
I'm not saying that, you know, primary children would do that, but like, you just never know. And
I think, like, I mean, I'm conspiracy theorist queen. So like, like I'm already like, okay, no, but the one amazing thing that at least I've experienced at primaries, and that's like the part that's hard, is there is goodness there. But there's so much tragedy. There's so many systemic failures for our babies, but we've had incredible nurses. You know, and I mean, I'm sure there's things that go on behind that, we don't,
crazy things they say,
yes,
out of frustration.
For sure. But like, that's one piece of primaries that I've been able to say consistently, even from the very start, is like, we have had phenomenal nurses.
And that kind of makes it tough, you know, because you do have good experiences with the nurses, but because it is a systemic thing, it's like, who do you point the finger to when Revie's literally fighting for her life and you're the only one that is advocating for her, you know? Like, it's almost like you have to make friends with the nurses so they can also get on the bandwagon and help you out, you know?
Yes, and they have.
Just go up the chain.
But, and now I've learned, because it's a job, right? Like, So we will get some nurses, and thankfully one who like just changed Revie's life like last week in invoking like Maya's rule.
Yeah,
and
what
so,
is that? Because I saw that.
Yeah, so it's her name was Maya Ramal, and she passed away in 2011 at Primary Children's from like preventable things. And if someone spoke up, and I want to say, so the whole like approach to it is, it doesn't matter your hierarchy in the hospital. If you think something's unsafe, you could be the janitor, the nurse. You can tell that doctor, hey, I'm invoking Maya's rule. Like, something's wrong. And everyone has to stop. And and there's no like you can't reprimand that person.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately with Maya, it was something that could have been prevented. And I'm assuming like ego got in the way, you know? And so thankfully Maya's family must have fought hard to get that rule in place, and it literally saved Revie's life, like quite literally.
Wow. So when was that invoked, and what did that do for Revie?
Yeah, so it was May 10th, Saturday, May 10th, and brave nurses and doctors in the emergency department invoked it. Me and Fatu went there after being, and this is the battle that we're fighting right now, right? And it's like, we are back again. It's like we've been discharged, sent home, and back within hours, back within a day. And so these people in the emergency department see us. And they're like, what is going on? And these people in the emergency department, like we talked about with Revie seizures, they're the ones resuscitating, like bagging Revie back to life.
Right.
They're the ones doing the hard work. And so when they see us and they know what they have to do in their hospital, and they know that's what we're doing at home, they're like, we're invoking this rule because something is clearly wrong, that you guys are still not getting help.
Right. And this is the emergency.
At Primary Children's.
Right. And so, I mean, I'm literally, I don't know how the hospital stuff works, but so like after the emergency room, they revive Revie, and then she's put into the hospital under the care of another doctor.
Yep. So typically, that specific time, Revie didn't have a seizure at primaries, but she had 4 seizures at home with us, and then 2 seizures at Logan Regional. And we had to fight even to get to primaries, because in Revie's care plan, it says if she seizes, just keep her in the emergency department for observation, not admission. Like, she doesn't get to come into the hospital if she's just seizing. Like, just keep her for admission. And if she looks stable, she can go home. But,
oh my gosh.
Right. Go home to my 10 and 12-year-old being those nurses on the floor.
Every night, every morning.
Yep. Anytime. It could be at 3 a.m., 1 p.m., on our way to dance class. It doesn't matter. Like, Revie could seize at any moment, and it's a life-threatening seizure. It's a PICU level, like, which is the ICU, right, that we talked about. That is the type of seizure that Revie has. It's like we need a team of people.
What is like the cure to it? Is there a cure?
Yep.
Like,
there is. And that's like, I don't know, like, yep.
Well, this is what I love about like you and sharing this journey is you've become a professional or a professional kind of, in a sense, with this type of, it's not, what is it? Disability? Refractory epilepsy.
Yep.
And so I just feel like, you know, maybe we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, or it's hard to understand why we're going through the things we are. But I truly feel like God is using you to make a change in, you know, in the future. Our voices is all we have sometimes. Right. And I love that you're using it.
Thank you for that. And it's crazy. Like, I hate telling this story sometimes because it just, I don't know, it sounds weird. I know. When I had Revie, I was mad. Like, I wasn't happy that, you know, I had this baby with disabilities, that I had to fight for this baby with disabilities. Like, I couldn't even just get a diagnosis. I had to go fight for it. And I was so upset, because if anyone followed me before Revie, it's like my journey was about self-love and
fitness.
Yes, and like,
I remember that.
And I remember thinking like I wasn't a good mom to Ellen Shia, in the sense of I I had so many body image issues, so many like self-worth issues. And that's probably plays a role into like this advocacy journey with Revie. You know, I doubted myself. And so I felt like I had healed that part of me. And then Revie was this gift to like redo like what I wasn't to Ella and Shia. And then I had Revie and it was like, really, God?
Yeah.
Like I did the work. And you're going to send me a baby now that I don't even get to enjoy. I have to go fight for.
Yeah.
And I was so upset. And I cried every day. And no one believed me outside of my family that something was wrong with Revie. And I remember being in the bathtub and I was like crying so hard because I felt guilty for being mad. And I was like, why did you send me her? Like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't supposed to be my story. And I really like heard these words, and it sounds so dumb, but it's so real. Like, I heard these words that said, Revie's gonna change the world. That's why. And it's like, it sounds so dumb.
No, I want you to know that it doesn't sound dumb. And I feel like God speaks to us in ways that we'll understand. And no one can ever take that away from us.
Right. And it's like, and that's true. And I remember like stopping. I was crying so hard where you're like, you can't breathe. And I just stopped. Like once I heard that and I was like, okay. Like I know that I am here to help her fulfill whatever that means. If that means change the world in my home,
right.
Change the world
in the medical field,
right? Like it could be just something so simple, like change, like us see Revie different, you know, like she's gonna help us. Like I didn't think it was like I'm gonna go and have to fight all these battles, but it's so crazy because every single battle that I fight for Revie, that's in my mind, like help her fulfill her purpose. Revie is going through something she already knew she was going to go through.
Right.
This
is her purpose,
yes,
yeah.
like, and it's crazy because everything that happens, I'm like, holy crap. Like, why is it always us? Why is it always Revie? Why does she have to suffer so much? And I don't think that it's like, oh, this is just how it was meant to be. I don't think she should have to suffer as much, but it's like, she's teaching people. She magnifies everything, the good and the bad. She'll magnify every gift if you are willing to like look at Revie and see Revie and be patient and learn from her, or she magnifies every weakness. Like this should have been done better. You should pay attention. Like don't doubt me. Everyone doubts her, and this hospital writes her off and says this is just the progression of the disease. Then why does Revie come back every single time? When someone intervenes, Revie gets to live. And that's how it should be. Like, why are we not helping these children? Like talking about like with these nurses, right? Like these children have life to live and they have purpose on this earth. And if we are just like watching them, you know, and not intervening, not matching the level of intervention with the crisis in front of us, then we are the reason they're dying, not their disease.
Right. How has this changed your relationship with God?
Oh, I didn't feel worthy. Like, so I'm LDS, and on paper, I was not a good LDS. Like I got pregnant before marriage, had sex before marriage, all the things like, and I always felt like, oh, well, I can't talk to God. I've never read my Book of Mormon. Like, and when I can do all that stuff, I'll talk to God, you know? But then I had Revie and it was like, God, I need you now. Like, I'm not perfect. And I've learned too, like, I never thought that even. Like, I never thought, oh, you have, like, my family was pretty chill. But it's made me feel that God is here right now. And if you're ready and you're willing, like he wants to speak to you, but you have to ask. You have to like ask him to speak to you. Right. And I never asked. And now every single day, like on my way here, I was like, please God, I don't know like what I'm supposed to say. Like, and I know Revie's at the hospital right now, but I need to fight for her. And this is a part of fighting for her. Like you said, like, you messaged me and I was like, I need your help. We need to be loud. I need your help. And you're like, can you come tonight? I'm like, yes, I can be
Come
there
right now.
And it's like, that's just like the way I operate now. It's like, it doesn't have to make sense. But I know that God, I just want to help Revie fulfill whatever it is that she's meant to do. And she can't speak. And so thank you for like giving her a voice.
Of course. I will always root for Revie. And I love what you said about just like when you started to seek God, he found you, he reached down in all of your struggles and all of your pain. And I just feel like a lot of the time, my whole gripe with religion just in general is that there's so much works, right? That we feel like we have to do before we could even be worthy for God to reach down and talk to us as he did with you in the bathtub. But God is literally a relationship, right? Yeah. And so when you get rid of all of the noise and all of the works that we're so focused on and just focus straight on him, he's going to speak to you and he's going to help you. And I feel like truly that was God speaking to you in the bathtub. And I believe that because like me sharing my experience that I had here in my apartment, I can tell that to 100 people and most people are probably like, that's kind of crazy, but nobody can take away the fact that I know that that was God speaking to me. And I know that that was God speaking to you. And I know that that is probably Revie's purpose here, to change the world, whatever form, whatever way that means. How has this affected your family, like your daughters? I do see the videos of your daughters like helping to save Revie's life while she's literally on the floor. There are children as well, Do you feel some sort of guilt as a mom that they're, in this in this situation with you?
100%. It like I feel so guilty. Like just the other day, one of the videos was usually when Revie seizes. We live with my mom. We've lost everything along this journey, and yet gained everything along the way. But living with my mom, there's someone home. Right. But Ella was sick and she wanted to stay home from school. And I was like, I don't care. School, whatever. What even is that?
We got a life to save. Yeah. Stay home. Who cares?
You can miss 6th grade, girl. So like she was
Matter of fact, drop out.
We've dropped out a few years and they're still at the top of their class. I'm like, what even is school, guys? No, but so she was home from school, thank goodness. And Revie started seizing and it was just me and Ella. And Ella, she's so amazing and Shai is so amazing. Like I feel so guilty that they've had to like do this, but I know like they're better for it, which sucks. And when they're in therapy like 20 years down the road and they're mad at me, I'll be like, girl, I'm sorry.
This was God's plan for you.
God spoke to me. Okay. Yeah. No. So like I'm ready for that day. But right now I'm like, this is what I need. And so in that moment, Revie started seizing and I'm afraid. Like nurses are afraid when this happens.
Right.
You have to save your life.
Your mom at home.
Yes. And it's my baby. Yeah. And it's like, I see Revie, she's gray. She's turns gray. She drops in like below 20s for like, she's
literally
coding.
gets cold.
Yeah. She's like, if we don't do something quick, like we're losing her on our living room floor.
Wow.
It is so bad.
How do you sleep at night? Like
we don't. And so like, as you're asking, like with my kids, like Revie has a pulse ox, which is something like you put it on their toe and it monitors their breath, like, and heart rate, everything. And when Revie seizes, like she immediately destats. So she stops breathing immediately. And that thing will beep, 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 beep all night long. And so every beep, my entire family is up. My 10-year-old is in my room. Mom, Revie sings beeping. It's beeping, Mom. And I run in there, figure it out. Okay, is she seizing? Is it like a bad read? Does she need oxygen for that? Like we don't sleep. We are the team. We are the plan. We are why Revie is alive. My 10-year-old, my nephew Sai, and like every single person in that house plays a role. And so with Ella that day, she had a role to play. And it was like, Ella, like I know I have to stay calm and I need you. You have to perform. I know you're 12, but I need you to get the oxygen and I need you to do it fast. Grab Revie, lay her down. I see her and I'm like, okay. And Ella could not get that pulse ox on like I was talking about. And the way I have to manually like ventilate Revie back to life, I need to see where she's at. I need to see if she's at 20%, 80%, 100%. So I know if I'm giving her too much,
Right.
if I need to do more. And Ella couldn't get it on. She couldn't get the pulse ox on. And in that moment, as a mother trying to save her baby and a mother who didn't want her 12-year-old to think that she killed her sister, I had to decide, I can't yell at my 12-year-old, even though I want to in this moment, be like, get the pulse ox on. Why can't you do this? You know, I had to be like, it's okay, Ella. It's okay. Even though I'm like, I don't know if my other baby's going to live. Because you can't get the pulse ox on.
Wow.
And I can't get the medicine to stop the seizure because she's not gray yet. You know, it's like impossible. And that's what Primary Children's is sending me home, knowing what's happening.
Every single time.
Every time they make a medication adjustment. That's what they do. They make a medication adjustment for Revie for this refractory epilepsy. Refractory epilepsy, once you've failed 2 meds, you are refractory epilepsy. And those medications have a 3 to 5% chance working. That's it. They are sending Revie home with a 95% chance she is going to die on my living room floor if my 12-year-old and me are not the plan. Like if we were not there, Revie would be dead.
What is it that you're looking for with help in like a hospital? You know, like I'm sure you know what's best for Revie. I'm sure you've spent countless thousands of hours doing your own research because no one else was doing it for you. Like what would help her with these seizures? Like what's the end goal?
I want action. That's it. It's like, I want you to turn over every stone. Just like we anyone, like you said, if it was your nephew. It's like, let's exhaust everything. Like, I want you to save them, you know? And so when Revie comes in, it's like, okay, I will be patient. You want to give me meds? We did meds from December to March for 3 months. Revie was seizing like that. And I allowed for them to try their medication. It didn't work. And truly, it shouldn't have been done for that long either without other intervention. But then it's like, okay, we failed. Agree with me that this has failed. Let's move. I want you to match the level of crisis that we're in with the intervention you're giving me. Like if there's a forest fire, you're not going to go and bring a garden hose and then be like, it's the progression of the fire. Yeah,
well, it almost feels like they're just like pushing it off because it's an inconvenience, you know?
They've already written Revie off. She's already like, this is my opinion. And I know other friends in the hospital, like I am not an isolated incident. This is systemic. This is happening to so many families. My DMs are massively full. This hospital serves 6 states. Like Revie is not just Revie's story. This is your nephew's story. This is every single person's story in 6 states, guys. Like this should make us lose trust in this hospital for our children. And we should demand answers and we should demand transparency and accountability because we want to feel safe bringing our kids into that hospital, you know? Right. And what they should have done is match the intervention to the crisis. Brain surgery. Let's look. Oh, it's too invasive. Well, what's more invasive? Actually looking to save Revie's life and giving her dignity or sending her home to die on my living room floor while I bag her back to life. That seems pretty invasive. Right. You know? It's like they have already said, like they really did say in the hospital, they're like, you're just too good at rescuing her.
Are you joking me?
For real, said. And it was like in a sarcastic way, like, because these people were upset too. They were upset that the doctors didn't have the plan. They were like, what the heck? Who
are these people that you're meeting with?
So there's tons of teams in the hospital, like neurology, which is who would figure out this. There's like palliative care, it is for kids that have chronic issues and they do help them be comfortable till the end of their life, but it's like that doesn't mean they're dying tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now, you know? So the palliative care team was kind of upset that this neurology team had no other answers, and they were the ones who were like, well, I guess you're just rescuing her too well. Basically, like neurology has already written her off. She should already be dead to them, essentially.
It's just frustrating because, at the end of the day, they're in the medical field and it's really hard to hold them accountable
Yeah.
for things when it goes wrong. Like, it's almost impossible.
Impossible.
You've always spoke up for Revie and like shared her story, but there's a different fire under you.
Yeah.
now. And where did that come from?
Just like, I'm doing this for Revie. This is Revie's story. This is her purpose. This is why she came to me. And it's like, seeing her in that hospital bed over and over, and she's fulfilling her part, and it's like, I will not let you down, Revie. I've let you down before. She lost a body part in that hospital, and it was their fault. And
how did they react to that, by the way?
So the Moran Eye Center was actually very forthcoming. They were like I have emails from the doctors saying, I'm so sorry. We did not perform the right test. The one that you've been requesting. Yep. I did not personally review the MRI. And so the radiologist just assumed she always had a detachment, but she didn't. And so the retina specialist should have personally reviewed it to been like, oh, shoot, it's detached.
Yeah.
And I was not seasoned. And unfortunately, being seasoned means you've been burned 100 times,
Right.
Like, I didn't know I had to go and screenshot the MRI report and put it into ChatGPT and say, what's wrong with this? What questions can I ask? Yeah. And that's what I do every single, me and Chat are going to take on
Best
primary
friends.
children's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for real, we are taking on primary children's right now because that's the level of vigilance you have to have with your child. And it's like, so they reacted, they said they messed up. In a care conference in front of everybody. They said they were wrong about pink eye. It was the wrong diagnosis. They could have saved her eye. We got a lawyer. We can't sue.
Why?
So there's so many layers to this.
I know, I'm sure.
Then so it's so annoying. So in Utah, the max that you can sue for if it's not fatal. So if your family member is not dead from their malpractice, you can only sue up to $450,000. But what happens is you get put in like litigation for 5 to 7 years. You're fighting a battle and
it's expensive.
It's expensive. Mm-hmm. They're paying for experts. They're paying for doctors. They're paying for reviews of our case. By the time they even get to, settlement or if we actually take it to trial, which that never happens, if we get to settlement and they say, okay, we'll settle for $200,000, the lawyer's only getting 40% of that, which is what, and for 5 years worth of work.
Right.
That's not financially incentive to them.
Right.
And we were with a big law firm. And I think they were like, what? Like, that's like that. This is not worth it for us, guys. And that's the truth of it. It was not worth it for them. It is not because we didn't have a case. It is not because they weren't wrong. It was because it wasn't financially incentive enough for our lawyers to do it. And as a medically complex mom who your every day is survival, it's like, okay, I got to go find the new lawyer. I got to go do this. I got to make sure. It's so much work, and these hospitals know it. These people aren't going to sue us. This is too hard. Let's make it. Let's drag them through the mud. Look, Utah's $450,000. That's nothing to us. Even if they sue and win, it's chump change. We're not going to change.
Right. It's literally a story of David and Goliath.
Yes.
And are you afraid, like, speaking out?
Yes, I am. But I have nothing left to lose. My family has given up everything. Like, I have changed my entire life. My 12-year-old changed her entire life. And I know I'm not wrong. I am just here to speak truth, and I want nothing from them. That's the crazy part. That's the scariest part.
It's not even about the money.
I don't want a dime from them. I want change from them. I want something different from them. I want to feel safe bringing Revie back into that hospital because it's bigger than this. Like, me and Fatu were fighting to be transferred, right? Like, you guys screwed us up. You lost your chance to care for Revie, kind of thing. Like, why would I ever let you touch my daughter again? People messaging me, I get the rudest DMs sometimes, like, shame on you at this point. Oh, same story. And I do feel guilty. I'm like,
don't feel guilty.
Right.
I was just telling you this before, but people literally act like you're being a Karen because someone made your fucking coffee wrong. Like, you're literally fighting for Revie's life, Right.
Literally. And I'm like, bring Karens back. Like, Karens need to
I am the Samoan Karen of Utah. I'm not kidding.
Literally, I'm for Karens. Like, that's a next shirt idea.
Yeah.
But
Why did that literally cross my mind today? Of
For
just
sure.
a Samoan Karen shirt. For reals, I was just going to start wearing one.
You literally need, I will buy it. But I'll make Fatu wear it, and he's talking.
Yeah, we'll start a whole movement. But it is really sad because, you know, although it's not about the money for you, it's literally about change.
Yeah.
Lawsuits, like the justice system is so not even about justice.
Right.
It's all about money.
Right.
As you just said, these attorneys didn't want to take the case because it's not worth it for them money-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, how then do we invoke change? By being fucking loud about
yes.
it.
That's where it's at now. It's like, you know what this hospital cares about? Their public perception, the way that they look. And I'm like, I will drag you through the mud every single day. And not because, right, you made my coffee wrong, because our community deserves to feel safe. I have to bring Revie back there. She has so many specialists. She needs so much help. I need them. I literally need them. And it sucks to say that because I hate them. You know, they've hurt my daughter. And I have to like put my pride aside, or I have to like suck that up and work and try to collaborate with these people who have hurt not just Revie. Like you said, Ellen Shia, if you've seen that video like of them, they're staring, watching their sister maybe die every week, multiple times a week. And it's like, I have to put my pride aside even with this transfer, and it's impossible to transfer. That's a whole other thing.
Why wouldn't they allow you to transfer?
So I think now, right? Now suddenly Revie can have all these surgeries. Revie can have all this intervention. Oh yeah, actually she can have it. And I think it would look bad. I would have to explain like, yeah, I was bagging my baby on the floor for the last 6 months.
It would look bad on primary
children's, yes. And I think they're getting money. They're getting money right now from Revie's insurance. They don't want to lose that. But most importantly, like, yeah, it's going to look bad. They want to keep it here and they want to make it right. And so what's happening is, in order to get a transfer, in order for another outside hospital to accept you, it has to be medically necessary, which would mean like, we don't know how to take care of her here. We can't do it. Or it would have to be a higher acuity of care. So like Logan can transfer to primaries any day of the week. But primary children's is a level 4 epilepsy center, which is what Revie has. That's the highest you can go.
Wow.
Right? I know. And that's the thing though. I'm not leaving because of what primaries can't do. I think there is smart doctors. I know they know what they're doing. I'm leaving because of what they didn't do.
Right.
For Revie, because of her complexities. They already wrote her off, and it's evident in the fact that last week she could not have brain surgery and this week she can. Like, that's the truth. That's the hard truth. That's the question I ask every single one of them in the hospital. What changed? Revie's diagnosis didn't change. My advocacy didn't change. The circumstances didn't change. What changed? And they're silent.
They don't give you an answer.
No answer.
What do you think changed?
They finally helped. They finally
because you're being louder and louder.
They invoked that Maya's rule. Maya's rule literally like saved Revie's life in the fact that systemically they're gonna get in trouble. You know, like someone lit a fire under their butt. They only changed because someone forced them to change.
So with this rule, Maya's rule, what do the doctors then, or the team then, what are they obligated to do under this rule?
And that's my question too. Is like, what happened? Like, why did someone in your system call Maya's rule? And I've been asking that because I want them to say in their own words, Revie wasn't safe.
Right.
And that's why. And so basically what it forces them to do is to treat the child like a person. The child first and always, their slogan. They were forced to do that with Revie. They didn't care last week because no one was holding them accountable. They didn't. I think me sharing on social media, even as small as it is, and I'm so thankful for this community. But again, this is all of our babies. But I do think it's causing some heat. I think the fact that we were like, we want to transfer. They're like, oh shoot. What are we going to say to the hospitals? Oh, yeah, for 6 months, we've been delaying this baby's care.
And collecting insurance checks.
Yep. And that's the other thing. The insurance is now going to find out that these guys, like with the amount of times we've been discharged, we've had readmissions, all these things. It's like, that's expensive.
Right.
They could have fixed what was happening Instead, they didn't. And now this insurance is stuck paying for all of this other huge bills when it could have been done in one time.
Right.
So there's so much bad that has happened. So many answers that need to be addressed, and they won't do it. But I will make sure they do it. Like literally, I have.
We all will.
We are gonna make sure they do it.
And it sounds bad, but like sometimes you really do. I mean, people, businesses, institutions, they care about their reputation first and foremost. And sometimes you really just have to be loud about that and share your real experience with them, you know, or with the public because they're not listening, or who knows?
Right.
Like, has any nurses or anyone in the hospital like mentioned your social media?
Absolutely.
What do they say about it?
Well,
and it is tough because you literally need these people that...
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, actually, the crazy part of it is I will be walking in the hall and I will have someone come up to me that I don't know and say, hey, I want to help you. But the only way I can help you, is I need you to call this number and I need you to say this.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have more people in the hospital who are rallying behind me. I have so many nurses that DM me. I have so many people that say, I can't follow you on my real account. I had to make a fake account and message you.
That work at the hospital. Why?
I don't know. Like,
It's
what do you think?
They're obviously afraid of, like, I don't know, saying something and losing their job or whatever the reprimands might be. But it's like they can't publicly support you.
Right.
Oh my God.
And some do. Like there's some that do. But we've also had, like, if I have my phone out in the hospital, like I'm allowed to record anything with my daughter.
Yeah. Anything
with Revie. I've had people in the middle of like traumatic experiences, like Revie getting a breathing tube out, come in that moment and be like, just so you know, we've gotten complaints of you recording. You can't record staff. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Why now too? But like, I can record whatever I want when it comes to my daughter's care.
Right. And you should. And you should start recording every single conversation that you have.
And I've tried, like, outright been like, hey, I'll be recording this conversation. And they've given me papers saying like, oh, you can't record it. And then come back to find out that wasn't even a real paper.
Right. Oh my God. That is insane.
There's so much scare tactics that happen.
Right. Just trying to silence you.
Yep. And you're naive. You don't know. You're not a freaking lawyer. You're a parent. You should be able to be a parent in the hospital. And you're like, oh, shoot. Okay. But you can record whatever you want. And if they refuse to have that conversation with you, that says more about them than it says about you in that hospital. So it's like, record whatever you want. Like, yeah, sure, you're not going to go up to a staff and be like, but if it's a part of your child's medical care, you have a right to record that. You have a right to record the conversation. Yes, the hospital might have a rule, but Utah is a one-party state,
yes,
like, right?
Consent state, yeah.
So it's like, you can record.
Yeah. What hospital are you guys wanting to, like, have you done research with hospitals and where she would receive?
Yes.
Well, I mean, if they're a level 4.
So that's the thing. Like, we can't get out. We can't.
You can't.
Like, we won't be able to get out in a timely manner. And Revie right now has deteriorated over 6 months of having delayed care.
Yes, by primary children.
Yep. And so it's like, at this point, when I have to put my pride down and be like, I have to do what's right for Revie. And I know people at home watching this might be like, they failed Revie so many times. Why would you let them do it there? Like, we are going to have to stay in primary children's hospital because it will not be deemed medically necessary, because they're saying, guys, we can do it now. We can do the VNS. We can do the brain surgery. We can do the SEEG. We don't need you guys to do it, even though last week they couldn't do it. And then they're going to say it's not a higher acuity of care. So not only will the hospital not accept us, the insurance is not going to pay, which me and Fatu have already said, we'll self-pay. It doesn't matter. We'll do it. Like, who cares?
And they still won't release.
So if we can find a hospital willing to take us, but the hospital...
That's insane.
Right?
If we can find a hospital willing to take us, like, just that sentence is crazy.
Crazy. So if we can find one, and so... Then we can start that process. But then it's like, we have to fight the insurance battle. We also have to tell the hospital how we're paying. There's down payment we have to put down. We have to have all this stuff. And it's like, get this too. They put a doctor in charge of our transfer, like getting us to transfer. It was taking so long. I gave them a paper specifically saying, I want a transfer. I want a second opinion on May 1st. It was May 14th. I hadn't heard anything. Called both the hospitals, CHOP and Mayo, that we wanted to go to. They told me there's been no contact made doctor to doctor. Okay. I call them out on it. Suddenly they have answers, you know, and the doctor who was in charge of this, it shouldn't have been her job. She's a doctor. She's a PICU doctor. Like, let her go to work. They have a transfer team at Primary Children's who I met yesterday. Oh, hi, welcome to the transfer team. It's like, why are you guys not taking care of this then? Why are you grabbing a PICU doctor, making her do stuff that she clearly doesn't know what she's doing? And not saying anything against her. It's like, she doesn't know. It's because, like, that's the craziest parts to me. It's like, you guys have teams for this kind of stuff. And look, you're still delaying her care. You're delaying her transfer. Yeah. They're denying that, by the way. They say they did not delay it. Of course. Yeah, it was Mayo's. It was Mayo's error. It was CHOP's error.
It's not the first thing they've denied.
Right.
Over the past 2 years.
So, like, I don't want to spread any lies, but it's like, it's weird. When I call, then things get moving, you know. But basically, it's like they have an entire transfer team, and that transfer team told me that this could take weeks to a month. It's like, does Revie have weeks to a month?
Right. How do you feel about that? You know, now that they're willing to do it, but it's like, well, shit, it took you guys how long to actually listen?
Can you come to our care conference and say it just like that so that maybe they can listen? So there's a few things. That morning, so even after invoking Maya's role, right? Yeah. It was still being told there was nothing we could do, which honestly, Primary should have ran with that. They could have just claimed ignorance. Oh, we didn't know, you know, but nope. So that morning they were still like, there's nothing we can do. And I was devastated. I was like a puddle on the floor because I was like, I know there is though. I know. And we just have to get her to another hospital. 2 hours later, the neurosurgeon walks in, gives me that whole plan. Guess what we're going to do for Revie? We're going to do this for her as quick as we can.
It's like you're grateful, but also frustrated because it's like, it's really fucking with your emotions, truly.
Right. And I was so grateful. I was so thankful, but also I was validated, which sucks because you don't want to be validated in the sense of like, I knew my kid needed brain surgery. It's like most people get told your kid's going to need brain surgery. Right. And you're devastated. You're scared. I had to fight for my kid to get brain surgery. Why did I have to know my kid could have brain surgery? Why did I have to become the neurosurgeon? Why did I have to stay up all night and do the research and watch all the Mayo Clinic videos and watch all the neurosurgeries or surgeons across the world? Why do I know that it's actually not that invasive, that it's actually a 1% mortality rate? It is so underutilized, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they make money off medication.
Oh, for sure.
And they don't want to solve. Guess what the rate is if Revie gets this surgery? A 70 to 80% chance she'll be seizure free.
Wow.
And what was it with the medications? 3 to 5% chance. That's the intervention they chose to use too for 6 months. Why? Those are questions we should be asking. Why?
Honestly, I think it's because of the money.
Yes.
It has to be because logically there's no other explanation for it.
Right. Money, and that they don't care about Revie's quality of life. Like, she has no life, wrote her off already.
Well, in a sense, it's like, well, let's keep not just Revie, but people in general sick because that's where the money is, right? The money is in the sickness, not in the cure. What is the future of like Revie's life? Would she ever live a typical life?
No, she will never walk, probably never talk. And maybe Revie's wild, who knows, you know?
Yeah, never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Never say never. Yeah.
She will not live a life like Ellen Shia.
Right. And
I used to be sad and mad about that, right? I am so thankful that Revie came to me. I am so thankful because I'm here to teach Ellen Shia, right? And Revie's here to teach me. And it's like, I have learned so much from her. I am such a better person. Me and Fatu live in my parents' dining room. And we are stronger than ever in our marriage.
Yeah.
We've been married for a really long time, and we've had ups and downs, and Revie has done nothing but bring us closer. We have lost everything, and it's like Revie has already fulfilled such a purpose, but it's like her time is not done. And the life that she's going to live, like she's going to leave this hospital safer for every single baby. If we as a community can rally together and demand answers, we are here. Revie already did the work. She suffered for this. Like, let's not let her down. Like, we have to speak up. She can't speak up. And it's like the hospital needs to tell us what happened. And they need to make changes. I don't want a dime from them. Will I sue them one day? Who knows? Maybe. But It's like, I mean, probably. But It's like tomorrow, what I want, they missed an opportunity. They should have come to me and said, how can we make this right? How can we make this right for our communities? They still can. They can make it right. And this place can be left so much safer for the next Revie that walks through the door. When your nephew walks in, I never thought it was going to be me either. I never thought it was going to be me until it is you. And it's like, I don't want any other parent. I don't want any other mom going home at night blaming herself. I don't even blame them for Revie's eye. I blame me. And that's why I have the fire that I do today. Because, she lost a body part. This one, she was about to lose her life.
Right.
And so no more primary children's, like whoever watches this, because I know that you're going to see it. Why? Like, we want answers as a community, and I will not stop fighting. I will not stop speaking up. Hello to the Karens. Yes. Like, follow along.
Speak up, Karens.
Yes, because it's like, Revie's going to come back. We're not moving to Philadelphia. I'm not picking my kids up to move to go get good care. Good care should be here.
Yeah.
So make it be here. And start with Revie. Thank you to Maya. I'm sorry, Maya had to die. And it saved Revie's life. Revie doesn't have to die. No other kid should have to die for things to get better, for things to actually be serious enough for change.
I agree. We're all sharing the stories, but like, what else can we do?
Demand answers. Make your own videos. If you've had a personal experience with primary children that you were like, oh, I don't know if it's going to hurt my kids' care if I say something, speak up today. Call and make a complaint. Escalate to the CEO, escalate to whoever it needs to be. Talk about this, like continue to share the video. Let's call the governor. I don't know I haven't studied
Spencer
this part.
Cox.
Is it Spencer Cox?
Yeah.
Spencer Cox, we are asking you personally to look into this. Personally look into this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, that's fine. I'm not though. Like, I'm asking you to your face, look into this and make and ask primary children's why. Because they have yet to answer me. We can't let this go, you guys, because our children, this is their fight. They can't fight. We have to stand up. It's a David and Goliath, and David can win. We can win. We are bigger than this establishment, and it's not getting better. It's getting worse. Right? Like, you don't have to have a title. Like you said, anyone. We all have the ability to use our voice, a platform. And it's like, Revie's in the hospital right now. She is. And somebody can look at me and be like, what the heck is that mom doing? And I don't get the luxury of being Revie's mom. I don't. I have never had it, not for years. And so I am here. This is me being Revie's mom, because she has to go back to that place. And it's like, so does your babies. And I know a lot of people in that hospital right now. They're scared. The same thing's happening to them, but they won't speak up because they're scared, and it's scary. Yeah. And so, like, thank you, Kona, for doing this. Like, you're brave because it's scary, and you're brave.
Yeah.
And I hope that everyone else at home knows that your voice matters, and that you can speak up and you can be heard, because I didn't know that for a long time. And I wish that I did. And so I hope that if anyone's at home feeling like they can't, in whatever way, if you're in a relationship that you shouldn't be in, if you're
speak up.
Right, like, you matter, and your voice really can change the world.
Yeah.
It really can.
And I feel like this is changing you forever for the good.
Thank you.
Maybe you were at a time early on in your life where you were afraid to speak up about things, but And maybe this is another reason Revie came to you, is now you're not. And now I hope you use your voice for everything and for everyone, not even just for your daughter, but for every injustice that we see.
Thank you for saying that.
Two last questions, wrapping it up. Number one, how do you take care of yourself?
Okay, this sounds really weird, but social media. Like like I'm not afraid to share like my real feelings. I cry on that, and it's not like set the camera up. Like they're my friends.
Yeah.
You are my friends.
You've created a community for yourself.
Yes.
You really have.
And it's like,
and now we're all involved in Revie's life. We're all
Sorry,
Revie's
guys.
aunties and uncles.
yeah. And I feel that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, it is my diary. It is my calling you up on the phone. Like when I pop the stories open or share my post, is like I'm talking to my friends.
Yeah.
And so thank you. And that's how I take care of myself.
Yes,
is
because
weird.
I feel like we've been friends for years, even though this is our first time meeting.
Right.
Just like through, like I said, sharing that journey, you create a sense of community for you. And that's like the most amazing tool that we have now in modern day. I feel like is social media, because we have the opportunity to build communities around us, no matter what you're fighting for, you know? And so I'm praying for you and your family. And I pray that God gives you the strength to keep going, because like I said, you know, we might not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but he's using you right now, and he's using Revie right now, even though we might not feel it.
Yeah.
And last thing, like, what do you want people to know about you or Revie?
Like, we are just regular people. Like, we are your sister, your brother, your nephew. Like, we are just regular people who just had dreams of a regular life. Nothing special, nothing crazy. We're just a family that has, you know, normal problems. And like, this could just be anybody. This is anybody. And yet we're being called to do something that no one wants to do. No one dreams of being in this position. And like, but it's like that. And that's the coolest part, is every single one of us has the ability to change something for the next person after them. I did not ever think that. Revie didn't think that. Ella Shia didn't think that. And people have Maya, right? Like, every single one of us has the ability to do something incredible with something tiny and small. Yep. And it's like, that's it. It's just a regular family that is asking for something that's not impossible, but something that's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I just hope that everyone can stand with us and speak for Revie, because like you said, you're all her aunties and uncles now. Yeah. And we just love you. Every share, everything you do, it matters. And I just am so thankful.
Yeah. Tell people where they can follow you. I recommend everybody, if you're not already, which I'm like, who isn't? Follow Revies Journey. You know, that's another way that we can help out as well. Following and sharing. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, it's just at Brittainy Quinn on Instagram. My mom is a Utah mom and spelled my name so weird, but it's Brittany Quinn on Instagram. And I need more platforms, because that's it.
We're going to open that door, starting with this right here at the CasualTea. Well, thank you so much, Brittainy. I love you so much. Like, you're literally like, if you don't have a gay best friend, I am putting in my application right now. Keep them in your guys' prayers. I totally hope that everyone does, you know, because I do believe that there is power in numbers and people speaking up, and also there's power in prayer. And so thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the CasualTea, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.